Hello everybody and welcome in to the 6 Hockey Studios. Jaden Ho alongside Jordan Jacqueline, and it's do or die for the Mississauga Rebels and the Toronto Marlboros. Game 5 of the second round of the GTHL playoffs. Winner takes all, looking for a seat in that GTHL finals after the Marlies broke this series wide open in Game 4.
Yes, it was a 6-0 victory for Toronto, and we really just saw everybody step up in terms of William Moore once again, but also somebody like Joseph Catherine, who really was a real net front presence, and we saw really good defensive performances, not just from goaltender Jaden Nelson, but from the defense as well, really getting activated. This looks like a team destined for a championship, and they really have a team once down 2-0 now suddenly has all the cards in their favor.
And you talked about goaltending and Jaden Nelson. What about on the other end, Daniel Giusti, having a bit of a shaky game, obviously, in game number 4. How can he bounce back for a do-or-die game 5?
He can't look at it as that. He just can't look at it like he's potentially throwing the series away, but there's still a lot of hope left here. We've seen what he's been able to do throughout the course of the sample size of the regular season and to the playoffs to this date. It's definitely going to be fascinating how his defense in front of him handles it, but he just has to play his game to the best of the ability that he can at this moment.
And speaking of the defense in front of him, the Toronto Marlboros seemed like they had unlocked something, going with those wraparounds behind the net a couple of times in Game 4. How can the Rebels work on shutting those down and limiting those opportunities for Toronto?
Well, I just need to box guys out in front of the net and behind, not giving anybody those open lanes, especially those long wingspans like a guy like a Nolan Turnbull with a big body. You just can't let them play a skating game around. And you want to just try to play with the puck more. You don't want to have losing puck possession, and you'll probably find they'll be able to find the answers that they're looking for.
Well, it all comes down to this tonight. The Toronto Marlies and the Mississauga Rebels, do or die, up next.
Wow, that's pretty
banger.
We just recorded 4 free games.
See, like, we could so easily do, like, how many of those do we think we could do in a day if we actually worked hard on it? We could probably do like half the season.
We could do it whole season's worth of free games.
Hello everybody and welcome to Scotiabank Pond. It's Game 5 between the Toronto Marlboros and the Mississauga Rebels. The Marlies have clawed their way back from a 2-0 hole to force this pivotal Game 5. Jaden Ho with Jordan Jacqueline from the 6 Hockey as we get set for puck drop.
And it's been William Moore has been the storyline for this Toronto team. Scored the Game 3 overtime winner and followed that up with a hat trick in Game 4. I'm curious what number 16 could do here in a winner-take-all matchup, especially against number 12, Ethan Chata.
As we are set for puck drop, it's Chata against Moore as Lev Katzen got a little bit too antsy there, and they'll have to redo that face-off. And now we're away as Aiden Lane won the puck back, but onto the attack quickly come the Rebels as they chase it in behind the net. Picked up here by Smith. Smith flips it up the boards, but it's chipped right back in by Mississauga, looking to rebound after a disheartening loss in Game 4, and now Aiden Lane steps in with a long shot, and that's swallowed by Giusti.
Giusti getting tested early there off a shot from Aiden Lane from far range, and he'll take any shot like that anytime he can get, where there's no traffic in front of him and he can just have the easy stop.
Moore taking the face-off here as the Rebels gain possession off the draw. And now it's carried ahead. On through the neutral zone comes Miocic, and his shot ramps up off a stick and out of play, so we'll get a whistle again.
And for the Rebels, then, they just need to try to execute off the rush and try to gain as many odd man attacks as they can and just play with the puck more. They cannot try to play nervous. They just need to play to their strengths that have made them a top team all year in the GTHL standings. They have to try to regain that form.
It's the scramble in the draws, won back by Toronto. And now it's flipped up along the near side. Marlies reversing back with it in their own zone, slowly trying to get things started here. Both teams seeming a little bit tentative here at the start of Game 5. Maybe a little bit of nerves going into a do-or-die game. Icing called here against Toronto.
For the Rebels now, they can't think of it as they've blown the series at this moment because they still have a chance here in Game 5 to make up for it. Let's see what some of the depth scorers can do as the Sean Costigan line enters the ice.
Flipped up to the line and now sent down towards the corner. Around the boards, they chase it. It's held into the line there by Secco, but Toronto will get it out on their second try. Turning back at center here is the Rebels. Look to get things going offensively, but icing called against Mississauga.
Both teams making it very difficult in the neutral zone right now to gain the controlled entry, and we're seeing multiple icings in the opening minute here of Game 5.
It's Witowski, Moore, and Martin out for the Marlies. A bit of a mix and match line here as the Rebels gain possession, and it's carried up through center. Around the boards, and Chada gets onto it in the corner. He flips it right back down, but he's turned the other way by Toronto. Over the line comes Moore. Moore in with a backhand try, and that one is high and wide, and we'll get a face-off here in the Rebels zone.
And William Moore is not afraid to shoot the puck at any area of the ice, even if it's a backhand, aiming top shelf from outside the face-off dot, but I'll take the face-off draw and a chance to win it back.
Sent up to the line is Sabatini. Flips it into the corner. Sent out to front of the goal as Marley's looking for a dangerous chance there, but no one was home to tap it in as it's backhanded in deep now by Mississauga. Out to play it is Nelson as Sabatini comes back for it. Up through center comes Toronto as Katzen couldn't knock that puck down, and now he has it again. Across and onto the stick of Aiden Lane. He'll flip it to the far side. Now sharp angle shots turned aside by Juicy, and Matthias Stark stepped in there looking for the rebound. Comes to the line again. Sabatini across, long shot, and that one's gloved down by Daniel Juicy.
The best shift of the period early on for the Toronto Marlboros, rather just cycling the puck, moving it back and forth between the blue liners, and generating some traffic in front of Daniel Juicy there, leading to a great chance for this Toronto squad.
Aiden Lane on the draw. Katzen gets a stick on it and shovels it into the corner. Back in behind the net, Lane. Up come the Rebels now. On the near side is a sharp angle shot, turned aside by Nelson. The rebound comes to the point. Behind the net is Gabe Smith. Smith up ahead, and it's cleared out by Toronto. Witowski onto it, but whistle goes, and we'll get a face-off out in the center ice area.
And we still aren't even 3 minutes into this period yet, but for the Rebels here, they definitely want to try to get into the offensive end more and try to generate some more high-danger chances and more inner slot shots and passes in that end. Because right now it is the Marlins off to the early start here in terms of possession and chances for.
Drop back to the Rebels defenders as now they send it ahead on the left wing as there's a shot turned aside. Back up to the line now. Van Gelder flipped it in deep. Now Van Gelder has it again. He shoots! That one's turned aside as the Marlies forced to make their first good stop as right back in comes Mississauga as they get it towards the front of the net, but Moore gets the clear there as that's an all-important defensive play. Now ahead comes Toronto again, but icing called, and we'll come all the way back down.
And that's just what the Rebels needed there, forced an icing with the Hinchado line getting back on the ice. With Michael Deck and Mikel Tissier, two players that can cycle it while Chada does some of the dirty work, and let's see if they can now generate their best chances of the period thus far.
Puck comes down to the corner off the face-off, and the Marlies get possession. Flipped out to center. That bounced over the stick of Secco, and now racing in onto it is Matthias Stark, trying to put pressure on these Rebels defenders on the forecheck as Jeremy Martin runs his man down.
Jeremy Martin using his size there to his advantage to win that puck back.
As his shot right after that big hit ramps out of play. So with 10:54 to go now, we get a face-off down in the Rebels' end.
That is what makes Jeremy Martin a first-round caliber prospect in this upcoming 2023 priority selection. It's not just his skill, it's his size to win those pucks back and really change the tempo of the game with a hit like that.
As they battle for it, and it comes to the corner. Stark is in there, looking for the loose puck, but it comes free behind the net, and the Rebels gain possession. Still battling as Mississauga gets it ahead for Tissier. Flips it in deep, and stepping out for it is Nelson. And now the Rebels are back on defense as Toronto comes to the attack. Carried over the line here by Aiden Lane. Lane is rubbed out along the boards, and Marlies are forechecking, trying to regain possession here. Flipped in deep once again. Jaden Nelson out for it. Rings it around the boards. And it's cleared up to the line. Off the glass and down the ice. No icing on the play as Gabe Smith goes after it. Backhands it up the boards, and Aiden Lane's onto it. Lane is checked. Now Marley's chasing it into the offensive zone. William Moore turns back in the corner. Trying to pull this free. Katzen in there helping out. Now it's sent up to the line. A long shot from Sabatini was turned aside. Now back behind the net for it on Toronto. Trying to check his man there was Aiden Lane as the puck comes free. Sabatini shoots, and that one deflects away. Backhanded right back in, and Lane dodging a check, knocking his man down in the process. And now he's got the puck. Here's Lane, spins and shoots. And that one's turned aside, comes all the way around and out of the offensive zone. And Sabatini will have to regroup. Rebels defender lost his stick on that play. As Katzen's in on the forecheck now. Caterin stepping in as well, and Caterin's got the puck. Here's Caterin, he's checked. But he hangs onto the puck, and only for a moment. As now the Rebels are out the other way, along the wing, trying to drive wide. They're turned back, and Toronto is onto the attack again. Near side, Stark. Stark trying to dodge the check from Van Gelder. Battle for it as Mississauga gains possession. Another big hit here in the offensive zone for Toronto. And they've gained possession back as Mississauga takes it out. Moran got it ahead, and Stark regains possession for Toronto. Here comes Matthias Stark. Stark in with speed. His shot deflects into the corner. Caterin after it. Joe is taken down hard as he stepped in after that puck, and you can see some retaliation there as Joe was taken down by Tissier. Physicality ramping up here as another check down in the corner. Now Mississauga gets it out of the offensive zone. Carried through the neutral end by Tissier. Drops it off. Here's Deck. Deck holds, shoots, off this, and the rebound chance for Chata was turned aside.
Michael Deck, I think, made one move too many. I don't mind the attempt there, the go for the cross-seam pass, but there was an open shooting lane on Jaden Nelson, and likes to hold on to the puck for a second longer because he knows Chad is there. But I think number 28 needs to be more confident in shooting the puck in that instance.
The Rebels do earn an offensive zone face-off now. As we are now set, and face-off is one back. Onto the attack comes Martin. Martin, far side, in with speed on the wing, driving the net. A backhand shot, scores! It's William Moore again! It's 1-0 Toronto!
What a breakout pass. And what did we say off the top of this broadcast? It's going to be the William Moore show again by the looks of it, as number 16 really gains that crossover speed in the neutral zone and then just bursts through and is able to bring it forehand to backhand to open the scoring in game 5 rather.
So William Moore continuing to shine on the big stage of the playoffs is carried ahead by Jeremy Martin. Marley's looking to double down here, and the Rebels looking to stop the bleeding. Puck pinned against the boards in the corner. Comes to the line. Sabatini fires it down low, and that bounced to the front of the net. But Giusti hangs on as that long shot from Sabatini almost created some problems.
And the Marlies are just doing a great job of generating net front presence and just going for those rebound opportunities. Giusti generally won't give it up if it's a clean look, but that's why they're trying to make it difficult for him. And you know, Jeremy Martin's one of those players that wants to live up and rise to the occasion. You're seeing him on some of these shifts really burst through speed as well. It's all Toronto thus far in the first.
As we'll have to redo this face-off. It was not taken fairly. Aiden Lane, the centerman for Toronto right now. As it's won by Mississauga. And they'll go to the attack, looking to find that equalizer. Carried through center is Michael Deck. Sends it towards the front of the net, but that was picked off. And now, through the neutral zone comes Toronto. Nice move, Cooper Drennan! But he was not, had the puck knocked off his stick. Up ahead comes Mississauga, now ahead for Chada. Offside at the Toronto line.
And I like that move from Cooper Drennan. They just try to drive to the middle of the ice using his puck handling abilities. That just showcases a team full of players right now that are not playing scared, but playing to their strengths and doing whatever it takes to try to score, and they're not afraid. And for the Rebels, they need to find that from their best players, and even some of their depth scorers in the lineup. And let's see what they can do here. They need to try to just escape from the neutral zone and try to play with possession.
Sent ahead and tipped in. Chasing after it. Here's Delisle. Delisle couldn't get it away from Drajewska. As the Marlies can't clear now. Near side, another chance for Toronto as Stark flips it out to center. Working back with it in their own zone are the Rebels, and they get it up into the offensive end quickly. Delelche turning away from a check. Got it out for Stark. But Stark couldn't clear the zone. Another chance for Toronto, and this time they'll get it out and skate it through center. On the wing is that long shot. Deflects up and out of play, so we get another whistle.
Yes, that was a shot by Delelche, the blue liner, rushing into the offensive zone. But we now see more out there once again with Witowski and Martin. So there's definitely a bit of line juggling as the game progresses from head coach Richard Power, and it's worked thus far. Definitely been difficult for Mississauga to game plan around this lineup.
As it's backhanded to the line. Long shot, and that one deflected on goal, but gloved and held by Giusti.
Sebastian Delelche showcasing ability to shoot pucks. He's a volume shooter. You know, if Luke Drajewska gets it, he's already preparing to wind it up if it comes back to him.
Sent around the boards now. Near side is the Marlies. Trying to get it out. Are onto the attack now as that pass is picked off, and in comes Toronto. Sent into the middle. Battle for it. Jeremy Martin looking for it. As that quick shot turned aside, and whistle had already gone, so we'll see what the call was. Looks like the net might have been taken off its moorings. So with 5:14 to go, we'll get a whistle and a face-off.
And we'll see some change in units. Matteo Sabatini, another blue liner, is definitely more so known for his two-way play, but he's been active offensively in the later parts of this series. And it's just one of those utility players you can put in any situation.
It's up ahead with it. Come the Rebels. 2-on-2 over the line. Cutting into the middle. A shot! And that one was blocked. Trying to make a big hit in the corner, but just bouncing off the check there. And the Rebels trying to maintain the offensive pressure. Onto the attack comes Toronto. Trying to drive the lane. A sharp angle shot turned aside. Rebound trying to get it back in front of the net. Centering pass was picked off, and Mississauga will try and get their attack started. Over the line again, a long shot. Rebound is Jaden Nelson Almost lost sight of it for a moment there, but he quickly poked that to the corner.
It's definitely an awkward shot for Nelson there as he got caught in his blocker.
As the Rebels trying to clear their zone now, Aiden Lane picks it up. Here's Lane, shoots! And that one went high and wide. Rebound comes to the front of the net, and Lane couldn't get a stick on it. As now it's cleared out by the Rebels. So now they've got the puck in their own zone again. A long pass fanned on there, as now they'll try the other side. Out comes Toronto. Flipped in deep there by Lane, sorry, as he took a couple checks from Tissier. You can see them still engaged. As now comes to the line. Long shot, and that one was turned aside by Juicy. Battle in the corner now. Cleared out, and Turnbull will pick it up in the neutral zone. Sent ahead here as the Rebels come to the attack. Flipped up along the near side, trying to cut through the middle. And then sent around the boards. At the line now, Drajewska trying to hold the zone. And Marlies will maintain offensive zone pressure, but only for a moment, as out the other way comes Freeman. Turned over in the neutral zone on the wing, trying to cut into the middle. Great move there, but unable to finish it off. And now a huge hit down low as the Rebels setting a physical tone of their own.
That was Joseph Catterin who made the initial move to go to do the toe drag, to drive to the middle of the ice to get the shot off of, and then the Rebel player retaliated. Definitely didn't like that move being used, and ultimately I'll be curious to see how the game management goes from the referees. We're definitely seeing a lot of physicality early on.
The Rebels stuck in their zone for now, but a chance to clear, and they will. Tipped into the offensive zone and played right back out by Smith. Sharp angle shot. Flicked away. Now comes onto the near side. Catterin reverses it back down into the corner. But now the Rebels have possession, and they'll try and get the clear. Up the boards sent. Marley slowing things down in their own end. Sent ahead for Matthias Stark. Left it there for his line mate. Quick shot, tipped right on, rebound loose! And Juicy finds it and hangs on.
Yeah, Juicy had to be careful there. There was two Marlies players around his crease with no Rebels in sight, so any rebound he gave up likely would end up in the back of his net. You now see some line substitutions, and Martin remains on the ice with Matthias Stark and Cooper Drennan.
Ethan Chada sent out there to take the face-off against Matthias Stark. Ties him up on the draw, and the Rebels get possession. Final minute and a half here of the first period. Sent towards the front of the net, but that's turned aside. Now out the other way comes Toronto. It's a 2-on-1. Matthias Stark out in front! And Cooper Drennan couldn't get a stick on it. Penalty upcoming, as Cooper Drennan was hooked on that odd man rush, so Toronto will get their first power play opportunity of this first period.
And that's just the Marlies capitalizing on an opportunity, generating an odd man rush. And the Rebels had to take that penalty there. Sean Costigan, player back the forward, so ultimately now it's a great chance here to make it a 2-goal lead heading into the second period. Let's see if they can do it.
If they do not manage to score before the end of the first, they will have the play extend as Moore fired that one high and wide. Martin now up top for Moore. Moore across to Martin. He shoots, and that one turned aside again. Far side, Catterin up to the line. Moore, Martin into the middle. And that one bounced away. Aiden Lane has it now. Lane to Martin to Moore. He shoots. He scores! It's William Moore again. 2-0 Toronto.
Make that 7 goals in his last 3 games for William Moore. What a coming out party here. If you weren't familiar with number 16 before, you have to be now. It's been unbelievable. in any area of the offensive zone how he can score. And like we said, it was head coach Richard Power that made that change to put him at the power play quarterback, and that clearly has worked out well.
So William Moore with a electric first period. He's got both goals. It's 2-0 Toronto. 46 seconds for the Rebels to try and get one back here. As the Marlboros will likely try and play out this period. They're happy with a 2-goal lead as there's a long shot. That took a couple of bounces, but it's turned aside here. And onto the attack comes Toronto once again. Nice move, Jason Joe. But miscommunication there with Matthias Stark. Now the Rebels will pin it up against the boards and try and get it out. Off the near side boards, and ahead with it comes Tissier. Chasing it down into the corner as we're into the final 10 seconds. Battle for it still. The Marlies get it out and down the ice, and that will do it for the first period. So it's all William Moore in that first period. 2-0 on 2 of his goals for the Toronto Marlboros over the Mississauga Rebels.
For Moore, he had 1 goal at 5-on-5, and then 1 on the man advantage to end that off. But in general, it's been this Toronto team, Jaden, that's driven the 5-on-5 play, and it's led to these man advantages for. And for the Rebels now, they just have to play like there's nothing to lose at this moment. That's what head coach Adrian Lamonaco has to state to his players, because at this point they're down 2. They cannot give up the next goal, or else it might really seal their fate. It'll be difficult to get back in that instance. But if they can just get the next goal maybe early on in the second, and suddenly anything's possible.
Well, absolutely. The Rebels certainly not out of it yet. But let's go to the other bench. Richard Power, head coach of the Toronto Marlboros. What would you be saying on that bench to try and keep your guys focused and try and finish off this series?
Just don't light it up, and really just make sure you're staying disciplined but still bringing that physical edge that they've been bringing. They're a bigger team that's been clearly emphasized by some of their players, and even their best players when it comes to Jeremy Martin, William Moore. These are players that are 6'2", 6'3". Kieran Ratowski, one of their line mates, is 6'3" as well. They can bring that advantage, and overall they have thus far. And just trying to win puck battles, get shoulder-on-shoulder contact, and really make it physically imposing for this Mississauga team.
So 30 minutes for what stands between the Toronto Marlboros and the GTHL finals as it stands. And the Mississauga Rebels trying to stand in that gap as well as we get ready for the second period. Juicy and Nelson have returned to their nets. And, of course, it's Ethan Chada heading out for the Mississauga Rebels. As the Marlies will send out Kieran Witowski to take the face-off against the Rebels star. And the second period is underway here. It's won back by Witowski, and Delelche has the puck now. Bobbled it for a moment, backhands it up the boards. Into the attack. Here comes Witowski. He had his stick checked. He tried to get into the offensive zone. Marlies on the attack now. Around the boards and sent in deep. Martin stepping in after it. Witowski in there looking for it, but Juicy will reach back to hang on to it.
You know, for goaltender Daniel Juicy, there's definitely a lot of pressure on him at this instance. He doesn't want to allow one squeak by him easily, so he's just doing whatever he can to stay post to post and just have swift puck movement in terms of his crease movements rather, and just try not to give up a softie at this point.
As the Rebels win this draw, and they'll send it around the boards, but Sabatini got a stick on it first and sends it right back up in the Rebels' direction. And here comes Moore. William Moore driving around the net, looking very confident with the puck now as he sends it towards the front of the goal. Picked off by Mississauga, and they'll go to the attack again. Dropped off and trying to carry it wide. Sent towards the front of the net. And now right in front as that puck bounced dangerously through the slot. Nobody able to get a stick on it here. Lev Katzen driving the lane, cutting around the goal. Sends it out in front of the net, but that one knocked down, and right back the other way comes Mississauga. Flipped in deep as the Rebels change. Now around the boards it comes for Caterin. Here's Joseph Caterin onto the attack, and he takes a check. Marley's changing now as they get the Joe unit out. Knocked down in the middle of the ice. Sent ahead here as Toronto trying to gain the offensive zone. They've got a tag up on the offside. Sent across here as it's flipped around the boards. Back with it is Delelche. Up with it in the neutral zone is Matthias Stark flipping it in deep for Juicy stepping out to play it. Marley's trying to hold the offensive zone again here. Into the corner, a sharp angle shot. Juicy made the save there. The rebound comes to the side of the goal. Now right in front and unable to get a shot away there. As the Marlies pouring on more pressure here on these Mississauga Rebels. Far side, flipped ahead here as Matthias Stark steps in and shoots, and that one gloved and held by Daniel Juicy.
The Marlies are doing a great job right now, winning puck battles in the slot and maintaining possession. They still are driving the 5-on-5 play to begin this second period, and the Rebels just don't have answers right now. They're turning over the puck in all three zones and really just can't counteract this Toronto attack.
Back with it, turning with it is Drajewska. Sends it into the corner. He's taken into the boards there as the battle ensues in the corner now. Back behind the net are Toronto. Trying to get it up towards the line. And now it's sent across. Here's Delelche. Delelche with a shot, and that one's knocked down. Out with it again comes Mississauga. Delelche grabs it. And now Mississauga onto the attack. Flipped ahead, and Drajewska gets a hold of it. Up ahead and flipped in deep here by the Marlboros. Turning with it here, and up the ice comes Mississauga. That long stretch pass missed everyone, but no icing called. Sent around, and it's knocked down on the near side. Back with his Lev Katzen. Chipped ahead. Now turning with it, and a check made there as Sean Costigan was run into. 4 minutes gone in the first. Or in the second, sorry, as the puck comes in behind the net. And Toronto tries to go to the attack, send in front of the goal as that puck was turned over, and a quick chance for Mississauga is turned aside. Turning back with it, maybe a chance here. Lev Katzen, nice move to the backhand. That shot stopped by Daniel Juicy.
Lev Katzen showcasing some creativity in transition and makes a swift move to his backhand.
Now it's sent in for a shot. The rebound, loose, and unable to get a stick on that in front of the net. The Rebels with a good chance there. Up onto the attack again comes Mississauga. Chipped in deep once again. Circling back with it, and it's flipped up the boards. Knocked down here by Smith. Gabe Smith sends it across to his defensive partner, and onto the attack comes Jason Joe. Here's Joe. He shoots. Stopped by Juicy.
And for the Rebels now, they keep giving up these odd man rushes to this Toronto team, and Jason Joe trying to go 5-hole on Juicy, but so far Juicy has been solid in terms of his crease movements and closing that 5-hole at this moment, giving up no ice.
Scramble for the face-off here, and it's one to the line. A long shot. Knocked down and tipped into the corner. Back with it are the Rebels here. Are the Marlies now. As they take it to the front of the net. Bouncing puck is loose, and it comes in behind the goal. Sent across. DiCarlo had to reach for that one. Now he's got it along the near side. DiCarlo down into the corner. Caterin. Far side. Back out to the high slot. That shot tipped, scores! It's William Moore again! He has a hat trick in back-to-back games, and it's 3-0 Toronto.
And there was traffic in front of the goal. It might have actually redirected off a Rebels player in front of the net, but it doesn't matter. It's back-to-back hat tricks for William Moore. 8 goals in his last 3 games. What a performance. He will not be denied. And Toronto has that all-important 3rd goal to now make this a 3-0 game, and they are feeling all sorts of confidence now.
Goal comes with 9.5 minutes to go in this second period. So the Rebels trying to get back as Costigan comes in with a shot and the rebound covered up by Jaden Nelson.
And that's a great response for the Sean Costigan line. Don't try to be discouraged, but try to just generate some offense immediately off the rush, putting it off the right blocker of Nelson, and there was a rebound chance, and that's why they just need to try to generate more of a net front presence, which they've been lacking in these last few games of this series.
As the face-off is won back by Toronto, and Sabatini will try and get things going. Marlies looking to continue to press their advantage here. Sent in deep there by Cooper Drennan, chasing after it. That's Aiden Lane, as Lane sends it up to the line for Sabatini. Sabatini's shot comes down low, rebound right out in front. Whistle had already gone, but Matthias Stark all alone in front for that tap-in, but net was off its moorings.
This is a Toronto team that's all dialed in at this moment, as we see some changes now. DeCarlo Turnbull, the D pair. Really big in size, but high volume shooters and really complement each other well.
As the battle for it comes along the end boards. Chipped out, and a collision there along the far side in the neutral zone. Up with it comes Mississauga. Knocked down in the offensive zone, and Toronto right back out. Not much offensive zone time here in this second period for the Rebels, as Kieran Witowski steps in and puts pressure on the defender. Ford checking hard here. As now the Rebels get it out, but right back to the attack comes Toronto. Cleared out once again by Mississauga. Flipped in deep, and Nelson will step out to play it. Pass ahead, and now a stretch pass. Martin racing onto it, but he was knocked off that puck. Back for it are the Rebels, as they go to the attack, but it's picked up by Drajewska. Drajewska plays it onto the far side boards, but picked off, and now a chance for the Rebels to try and get some offense going. Puck comes up to the line. Here's Turner, his shot bouncing in the air and unable to knock that down in front of the goal.
And Oliver Turner has definitely been quiet these last few games. Just puts a shot on goal through traffic, and it nearly squeaks past the gloved hand of Nelson, but he was able to block that round, and the defenseman on this Toronto team helped him out.
Through the neutral zone, here comes Toronto, sent into the middle, but unable to get a stick on that was Caterin. And now they've got possession set up once again in the offensive zone. Coming around behind the net, wraparound try, scores! Will Moore has 4!
Is there anything left to say? William Moore has 9 goals in his last 3 games, averaging a hat trick in all of them. But he has 4 here in Game 5, and what perhaps is probably his biggest game of his career thus far, and he has certainly lived up to it. A 4-0 lead for Toronto, and they are just feeling the swagger as this goes on. The Mississauga Rebels definitely looking down at this moment.
And Mississauga's taken a penalty after this goal as well. So not only are they down 4-0, they're short-handed for 4 minutes. A double minor for Sean Costigan. And it looks like the Rebels are going to make a change here. They send out Chada and Deck, as they have a mountain to climb here. Down by 4 and a double minor to kill.
And you have to wonder if, for head coach Adrian Lamonica and the Rebels, he could have used a timeout here, but Instead, it's just letting them play at this moment in time, and we'll maybe elect to use it later in the game.
Jeremy Martin sends it up top for the most dangerous man on skates right now, William Moore at the top of the point. Moore shoots. That one deflects. Rebound comes loose. Moore has it again. Drops it off for Jeremy Martin. Martin's knocked down hard. Sent around the boards here is Aiden Lane. Flips it up for Moore again. Moore sends that across for Jeremy Martin. Martin to Moore. Will Moore shoots. Deflection. And that comes down to the corner. Lev Katzen. Katzen skates it out to the front. Katzen for Moore. His shot was blocked, and it'll come all the way back out to center. Here's William Moore once again. Moore. Back with it. Drops it off. Now the Rebels get a chance to make some changes as the Marlies flip it in deep. Caterin chasing after it. And it's cleared to the line, but not out. But second try, it will escape the zone as the Marlies pick it up again. Minute and a half gone on this double minor. And up through center comes Toronto. Flipped in deep. Chasing after it here, the Marlies pick it up in the corner. Sent back up to the line. Across, here's Sabatini. Sabatini holds it at the line. Back for Sabatini. Down into the corner again. Now across as Witowski knocks it down. Witowski holds, shoots! And that one missed the net. Out with it comes Mississauga now. Halfway through the 4-minute penalty kill, and they'll just flip it in deep.
Good work there by Abu Ali just to dump it in there, not turn it into the defensive end but rather just escape with it before a few strides and clear the zone.
As the puck comes to the front of the net, and good chance there for Toronto. And it's William Moore once again with it. Holding it at the line, sends it off to the side. Cross ice pass for Caterin, didn't connect. And now it's back up top for Moore. Marley's changing as Aiden Lane gets the puck. Here's Lane. To the line for Moore. Moore to Martin. Martin back to Lane. Lane for Moore. Moore. Martin. Into the middle. Katzen. Lane shoots. Stopped by Juicy.
And what east to west puck movement from all forwards involved in that power play sequence. And it was the quick hands of Katzen to get that back to Aiden Lane on the far side. Juicy was able to make the blocker side stop as there's just 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining on this man advantage for Toronto. And the Rebels just desperately trying to escape it and perhaps maybe score one before the end of the second to have some sort of life heading into the third.
Another goal here for Toronto would be about as close to a death sentence as you could think of as Katzen sends it into the corner, into the front of the goal as that puck was turned aside. 50 seconds now remaining on this man advantage. Backhanded up towards the line. DiCarlo walks the line, drops it off, down into the corner now. Sent across here as Turnbull was looking for that pass, and the Rebels get the clear. 30 seconds remain on the man advantage. Carried up through center. Here comes Lev Katzen with a head of steam. Katzen driving the lane, centering pass. They score! Aiden Lane with the tap in. It's 5-0 Toronto.
Make that another power play goal for the Marlies in Game 5. And as Lev Katzen in transition spots a sprawling Lane who gets to the front of the net, goes forehand to backhand, was left all alone. And for goaltender Daniel Juicy, there was just nothing he could do in that instance. It's all Toronto now with 3:20 remaining in the second period, with 3 second period goals to add to it.
And for the Rebels, the mountain starting to look more like a wall in front of them. As they have about as tall a task as you could think of ahead of them. And Jaden Nelson plays it out behind the net for Drajuska. Pass up through center is knocked down in the neutral zone. Back behind the net for it is Gabe Smith. Smith, his pass ahead was knocked down as The Rebels looking to get one before the end of this period. As you said, Jordan, they just want a little bit of life before the end of the game, as offside is called here against Toronto.
And for the referees now, they'll just have to be careful in terms of managing the rest of this game. There have been physical altercations throughout this entire series and in the early goings of Game 5, but I have to think if it remains 5-0, we might see the clock running in the third period, and they'll just try to get this game and series done as fast as possible.
As onto the attack comes Martin with a shot, and that one ripped wide. Rebound comes for Smith, and he fired that wide through all the traffic in front. Slipped in again by Toronto, but they're turned back at the line. Around the boards and knocked down there by Nelson, and he'll hang on for a whistle and a face-off.
And kind of getting lost in this comeback story is goaltender Jaden Nelson, who's just had to really make the stops when needed. Hasn't necessarily had to be the hero, but he certainly hasn't been detrimental in any sense of the way. And for him too, we know with goaltenders, it's all a mentality thing. To be down 2-0 going into overtime in Game 3 and able to win it, potentially in a comeback fashion like this, kudos to goaltender Jaden Nelson. He's been just so positionally sound for this Toronto team.
As the Marlies gain possession in their own zone, final 2 minutes of the second period, and chasing after it again is William Moore to the net. Moore turned aside that time as Daniel Giusti finally gets the better of William Moore. Out with it comes Mississauga now. Driving in lane, as penalty upcoming against Toronto here, as now the whistle's blown. So with 1:38 to go, this is probably a must-score power play for the Mississauga Rebels.
And if they don't score, they'll at least have 22 seconds to begin the third with. They're trying to muster up something quick, but they just have to start thinking about the task on hand. As it will be William Moore actually heading to the penalty box off of what happened following the breakaway, so the Rebels there have to be excited.
Will Moore just trying to show up on the score sheet as many times as he can tonight, as the puck's flipped all the way down. And the Rebels slowly will start things up on the power play. Up through center. And it's over the line on the left wing, stopping up there. Now sent across as that pass bounced over a stick. Down low. Now up to the line for Turner. Turner across, takes the return pass and flips it into the corner again. Cleared out and into center by Toronto, and Giusti will have to play it here. Giusti played it out for Turner. We're in the final minute of the second now.
And for both these teams now, it's been a great series as the Rebels bring it back to the offensive zone, but once again, it's Luke Drudruska just showcasing his puck protection skills, his ability to box out a man. And he does it once again.
There's a quick shot, and the rebound, Turner to the side of the net. What a save by Nelson! Sprawling across to preserve the 5-0 lead. And you can see the frustration setting in for these Mississauga Rebels. Sticks on their knees. Frustration and despair, perhaps, starting to set in as 5-0 in 15 minutes and 20 seconds is not an easy task.
This is what we talked about with Jaden Nelson. Most of the stops he's had to made haven't been too high quality, but that one, he was able to live up to the moments and make that sprawling effort go full splits to get that out, and now his penalty killers will award him by clearing the zone.
As they have cleared the zone all the way down, it's come, and maybe one last rush before the end of this period for the Mississauga Rebels, as it's carried up through center and dropped off by Ethan Chada to the line. Return pass, Chada trying to send that in front, but had it knocked off his stick. Chada again in the corner. 2 seconds to go, and as that puck escapes the zone, it's going to do it. So a 3-goal second period and a 4-goal performance from William Moore have the Marlies 15 minutes away from punching their ticket to the GTHL final.
Oh, for sure, Jaden. And for William Moore now. It just has 22 seconds left on the penalty box, and who knows how much more it can add at this point, but they're going to run the clock presumably, and they're going to just try to get this done as fast as possible. What a story this Toronto Marlboros team has been.
And as we await this third period, it appears they may skip the flood, which they typically do after the second, but in a lopsided game like this one, organizers just trying to keep timing down, make sure they're not going over. So it'll be 15 minutes, and they'll likely run the clock to start the period at least. So the Rebels with a very tall mountain to climb, and the Marlboros just looking to hold on for 15 minutes. Jaden Ho for Jordan Jacklin and everyone at the Six Hockey. We'll see you after this short break. Welcome back. It's the third period of a 5-0 Game 5 here between the Toronto Marlboros and the Mississauga Rebels. Mississauga looking to pull off a miracle here. Toronto just looking to close it down. As face-off is won back by Toronto, but Mississauga now with their few seconds of power play looking to strike, send off to the side, a shot, score! Michael Deck has put Mississauga on the board.
And for the Rebels, that's just what they needed. Michael Deck had, in 2 instances in this game, passed the puck to Ethan Chada, thinking that he could be the one to find the back of the twine, but nonetheless, it's this time Deck who has a clear opportunity and takes advantage of it blocker's side. And it's now a 4-goal advantage for the Marlies.
Clock's still running, though, so for Mississauga, they've got to get a move on here if they want to continue to push their way back into this game. Long stretch pass, that's going to come all the way down for icing against the Rebels.
And for Toronto now, they're just going to continue to probably play out their game, probably try to make it a bit more low event. I don't think they're going to be going for too much offense, but knowing what we've seen thus far, especially from the likes of William Moore, he's definitely not going to stop trying, and we'll see what can happen here with him on the ice.
Well, if you're Will Moore, why not try for 5 as Katzen steps into the slot with a shot that bounces off a stick, and whistle's going to go here. So we get a stoppage and the whistle, and the face-off will come back into the offensive zone for Toronto. And it looks like Will Moore is going to the bench in some discomfort after that play. Looked like he might have been holding his wrist, so we'll hope the best for him, and the Marlies will certainly hope the best for the man who has helped them claw their way back into this series and put the Rebels on the brink. Sabatini sends it around the boards. On the far side now, and the Rebels get it out. Trying to settle that puck down and carry it through center. Held into the line, and that shot turned aside, and whistle's going to go at the Toronto line.
Aiden Lane, one of those players that can get under the opposition's skin, has definitely had some one-on-one battles with various Rebels players, including Sean Costigan, but we'll see how that progresses now. The clock's still running. Ethan Chada now on the ice.
As Lane trying to win that puck back, but Miachevich has it. Sent around the boards, and icing called here against Mississauga, so it's going to come all the way back down. Keep an eye out for William Moore here, see if he gets another shift before the end of this game, or if whatever ailment he's acquired is going to keep him out the rest of the way.
Jeremy Martin's on the ice now for Toronto. We'll see what he can do in terms of his offensive ability out there with Drennan and Stark.
Around the boards and now in behind the net, trying to center there, but Drennan couldn't get a stick on it, and out the other way comes Mississauga. Far side, now chance in front of the goal, and Nelson came across to make another big stop.
Just side-to-side movement there from Nelson, and didn't give up any open net on that chance.
Now with blazing speed, here comes Jeremy Martin. What a move, Martin out in front, shot stopped by Juicy, rebound loose, they score! Jeremy Martin has made it 6-1 Toronto.
And what do you know, it's number 19, Jeremy Martin, with a burst of speed. After the Rebels found some resemblance of hope, he just takes that light away from the end of the tunnel to reaffirm that Toronto will secure this victory most likely, and he's really just upping the chances for his blue and white squad.
6-1, there's a 5-goal lead restored, and another nail in the coffin of these Mississauga Rebels, who will not give up easily, as they will try and fight their way back into this game in the final 11 minutes, but a tall task, as we've said, ahead of them, as it's held into the line and sent into the corner. Down low and cleared out by Witowski. Chipped up along the boards. And in deep once again. Back after it here. And now Delelche chips it up along the near side. Long pass ahead, Cowderin looking for it there, but couldn't get a stick on it. Stopping it here is Jaden Nelson. Up with it, and now it's cleared all the way down once again by Toronto. No icing on the play. Turning back with it are the Rebels now, and trying desperately to save their season here, but not looking very good for them with just under 10 minutes to go, as it's carried in by Van Gelder. And now out the other way comes Toronto. It's an odd man rush. Matthias Stark centering pass, and that got away from Katzen. Mississauga looking to regroup here after that chance for Toronto. And that puck is cleared out of play, so we'll get a whistle and a face-off with 9 to go.
At this point now, Toronto just trying anything they can offensively just for fun. At this moment, they have the 5-goal lead and generating odd man attacks, and the Rebels now just really fighting it. It can take a lot of a toll mentally to have blown a 2-0 series lead in this fashion, and there was a lot of pressure put on them, and for such young players, this is definitely a learning experience moving forward in their respective hockey careers.
William Moore, the story of this series to be sure, scored the equalizer and the OT winner, or the go-ahead goal in the OT winner in that thrilling Game 3, and then carrying these Toronto Marlboros through Games 4 and 5 as that shot stopped by Jaden Nelson.
And we definitely are seeing some talking to there. Matthias Stark in the middle of it around the net, as Jaden Nelson once again just makes a simple stop. Has only allowed 1 goal in his last 6 periods. So the Rebels definitely haven't been able to put up much offensively, but Jaden Nelson has been one of the more premier goaltenders at the GTHL level this season, and that's why he's a projected high-round pick in this upcoming priority selection, as we will now see a penalty called in the process that will send Toronto to the power play, so Sean Costigan gets his second minor of the game.
Well, and the frustration obviously very palpable for these Mississauga Rebels, as they came so close to securing their spot in the GTHL final, but it's all fallen apart here in the last few games. And now Toronto will try and play out this power play, kill off some more time on the clock before they punch their ticket to the final. Flipped in deep as Jaden Nelson will knock it down behind the net. Look out, he misplayed it. But good recovery there from Toronto. And now they'll come onto the attack. Offside called as Jason Joe just a little bit ahead of the play.
And we just have 6:45 remaining on this clock here, so the power play time will run out quickly for Toronto, but I don't think they were necessarily mind at this moment with the 6-1 advantage. And we'll see it now head the other way now as there's another player heading into the penalty box to make this 4-on-4, and then eventually a Rebels power play.
So now 4-on-4 time will probably tick away pretty quickly before we even get to the face-off, so it will be a Rebels power play momentarily. Still unsure of which Marlboro has been sent to the penalty box. It was Cooper Drennan going to the box for Toronto, and so it'll be about a minute 15 of power play time for the Rebels. And now it's carried up through center. Kieran Witowski using up all that extra space on the ice with 4-on-4 to get it into the corner as the Rebels pick up that loose puck. Here comes Mississauga now off the boards and onto the attack. And a sharp angle shot, glove down, rebound loose in front of the net, but cleared away by Toronto. Couple seconds to go, and now we're at 5-on-4. The Rebels on the power play now. As Delisle returns to the ice. Sent out in front. Delisle tipped it right on. Rebound loose to the side of the goal. As Jaden Nelson hung on to that one. So 5 minutes to go. Clock still running in a 6-1 game in the Marlies. Every second getting closer to that GTHL finals berth that these teams have been competing for, as it's one back to the line, a long shot deflected, scores. Ethan Chada makes it 6-2, and a little bit of life here for the Rebels, but 4.5 minutes is all they have, and still 4-goal cushion for Toronto.
Final game for Ethan Chada, presumably in his GTHL career, and is able to at least get 1 goal. He's risen up in the OHL drafts rankings all season long, so at least he has something to show for it here in Game 5, and it's on the power play, just being a simple redirection in front of that.
Some pushing and shoving going on here. Turnbull getting in the grill there of his Rebels counterpart. It was Secco who he was pushing and shoving, but nothing will come of it. 3:50 to go. As they battle for this puck, and it's one back for Secco. Secco sent it across. Turner will carry it in. Here's Turner. He shoots, and that one's turned aside. A rebound. Dangerously bounced through the slot as Secco sends it into the corner now. Sent out in front of the goal, and now to the line. A long shot, and that one ramps up and out of play. Rebels seeming to play with a little bit more life after that second goal. But again, running out of time to make anything miraculous happen.
Just trying to make it a respectable game at this point. Try to make it seem less like a blowout, but at this point, just give it everything you got at this point, because you just got a couple minutes remaining at least. Just try your best and move onwards.
In what is likely the final GTHL game for just about all of these Rebels players. I'm sure they've got plenty to play for in these final couple of minutes. And for the Marlboros, just look to gear up for the next round of the playoffs. And still, they'll be hoping that William Moore is all right. He went off to the bench in some discomfort earlier this period. I don't believe I've seen him return since.
Neither have I, and I think that's just them being precautious, which is smart. In a blowout game, you don't necessarily have to bring him back in, especially when the physicality could have ramped up. But it hasn't been too bad thus far, but I think they just want to save him for the GTHL finals, where he can be a bit more well-rested and limit the chance of injury.
Up with it come the Mississauga Rebels. As it's back down into the corner. Final 2 minutes now. As Marley's looking tantalizingly close to winning this playoff series. Flipped off the glass and down the ice as it's picked up by Van Gelder. He'll play it across. Up the boards now and into the corner. Behind the net, playing it is Nelson. He rings it around the boards. Now a race for the puck as it's sent ahead with Drennan, but he couldn't get a stick on it. Now he's got the puck again. Here's Cooper Drennan on the attack. He just turns back at the hash marks. Sent ahead there by Drajewska. Tipped in by Martin, and the Rebels regain possession. Sent across for Secco. And flip right back in deep as the final minute approaches here. And things sort of really slowing down with 60 seconds to go.
Looks like Christine Sinclair has been injured.
That's it.